Okay, this stunning little car is not mine, unfortunately. Owned by a friend of mine who has generously allowed me to make a video on it. This is a Ferrari 250 Gt Berlinetta by Carrozzeria Ellena. As you probably know if you're watching this, Ferrari 250 series was a long-running series of cars built between 1953 and 1964. And Pininfarina had started doing the design for the 250s, and Ferrari had pretty much chosen Pininfarina as its main design house, with the classic Pininfarina design features, which were the oval grille, the long hood, the short deck, and minimal chrome trim. In the late 50s, it was time to replace the Europa GT, and Pininfarina came up with this design, and Ferrari wanted to do a larger production run than they had done previously, and Pininfarina didn't feel they were able to manufacture that volume of cars, so they decided to put that out to Carrozzeria Buono, which was run by Mario Buono. So the Buono factory built somewhere between 74 and 82 cars, and they became known as the Buono Ferraris. But in 1957, Mario decided to go to Fiat to run their design department. So his son-in-law took over, and his son-in-law's name was Gt Berlinetta. And under his heading, they built 50 more cars. Basically the same design, but under Ezio's ruling, they did some minor changes. They raised the roof about 2 inches to give a little more headroom. They got rid of the vent windows on the doors, and they put larger brakes in. They changed to a ZF steering system, and the engines had single distributors on them. The Ellenas also had a quote-unquote normal shift pattern. Apparently the Buonos had sort of a backward shift pattern. Underneath, it's the same as basically the GT racing cars of the time, the 250 series. This is the famous 250 engine. It's actually a almost 3-liter engine. The 250 is the displacement of each cylinder, and it's 12 cylinders, so it comes out to 2,953 cc displacement. It's a V12, 60-degree angle. It's all alloy except for cast iron cylinder liners. And it makes about 240 horsepower. The compression ratio is 8.8 to 1. Apparently one of the amazing things about this engine was not only the incredible power for the time, but the incredible lightweight because it was all alloy. Apparently it's about half the weight of a Jaguar straight 6 engine, believe it or not. It has triple dual throat Weber carburetors, and the transmission is a 4-speed synchromesh. So I'll crank it up here. So in an up-close inspection, it's got a pretty thick radiator up front. You can see the 3 dual throat Webers. You can probably make out that it's a single overhead cam engine. There's the single distributor on the Ellena when it was, I guess, dual distributors on the Buono. Interestingly, it seems to have 2 coils running into it, and if you look at the distributor, it's got 2 wires going in where the coil usually goes in just the center. So twin coils, single distributor. There's the, in the blackness, there's the ZF steering box right under the horn there, and the oil filter is off to the side, a remote oil filter, and batteries in the trunk also. While I'm in the engine compartment, I should point out the beauty of the workmanship here. I mean, the braces are beautifully installed under the hood, and even the hood prop is a beautiful chrome piece of metal, obviously all handmade. Very nicely done. So here's the dashboard. It comes with a obviously complete set of gauges. It's got the fuel level, the tach, and the mileage or odometer. It's got oil pressure, the speedo, oil temperature, water temperature, and a clock. And 4-speed gearbox. It's not 5-speed, but it is the normal first, second, third, fourth, unlike the Buono. And nice metal dashboard before the days of padded dashes and safety features. And of course, lots of leather, a beautifully done interior. One thing you can't say for it is it does not have much of a trunk. You're not going to get a whole lot of luggage in here. It does have the toolkit and a totally unsafe fuel filter, or fuel filler, but the trunk space itself, I presume there's a spare under this big cover in the center, but yeah, you're not going to fit much in there. Interestingly, the steering wheel instrument panel and door hardware are same as the Tour de France and the long wheelbase California Spider. It was supposed to be a luxury GT, but apparently they were raced in the Mille Miglia of the Alpine Rally, and in 1957 one had a first place in the Acropolis Rally. Don't you love those diminutive quad exhaust tips? The chassis is tubular steel, unequal length A-arm front suspension with coil springs and tube shocks. In the rear, it's like a Mustang, live axle, leaf springs. And I was reading, some places talked about disc brakes, but others talked about drum brakes. This car definitely has drum brakes all the way around. And even though it's a rare car, they only made 50 of them, and of those, not a whole lot are still remaining. It's still one of the more affordable Ferraris in the 250 series. Not sure why. It's a beautiful car, but it doesn't bring in the prices like the California Spiders do, that is for sure. Should also add the top speed at when they were new was in the 130 to 140 mile an hour range, and 0 to 60 was 5.9 seconds, which was pretty impressive back in the day.